A warm welcome to Tbcnews. Our top stories. Samia stresses agricultural transformation to end hunger.
To reduce post-harvest losses, and that's food storage and value addition of processing.
Government corners underperforming parastatals to reform. Good evening, I am Faida Gaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. President Samia Suluhu Hassan has participated in the dialogue on agriculture in the USA, reiterating Tanzania's commitment to continue improving its food production and agricultural systems to ensure food self-sufficiency in the country. She says in implementing the resolutions reached in Dakar, the government will ensure that the people have access to food at an affordable cost, while the excess is reserved and exported, making the country able to feed the Eastern and Southern African countries. Furthermore, President Samia says the government plans to establish a special committee to advise the government on food issues. The participants of the dialogue are exploring better ways to deal with the problem of hunger around the globe by increasing food production.
An experience, and I left Dakar with an energy of implementing three major things. And one is to make Tanzania food self-sufficiency. And that means we have to have enough of increasing the productivity of agricultural produce, but again, controlling the quality of the food that we are producing, but also affordability, accessibility and affordability of the food that we are producing. That's number one. But number two, it was food storage to reduce post-harvest losses. And that's food storage and value addition of processing. And number three was to make Tanzania food basket for the region, East African and probably Southern Africa. So we are not there yet. We haven't reached the targets yet, but I'm telling you we are on track.
Okay.
We are on track. And on the institutions that we have established, first and foremost, you know, Dakar, we were required to establish the Presidential Advisory Agricultural Councils.
The Presidential Delivery Council.
Yes, and I've done exactly so.
Oh, please give it up to her.
And we
That's
have
great.
it. And it's doing a good job of giving advice to the government on how to implement the Tanzania impact on food delivery and food security.
The president of Zanzibar and chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Dr. Hussein Ali Mwinyi, has concluded his two-day state visit to Qatar. During his visit, President Dr. Mwinyi participated in the international conference to mark the 30th anniversary of the International Year of the Family. He also visited the Qatar Charity and the Qatar Foundation and held talks with various countries' top leaders. Minister of State, President's Office, Planning and Investment, Professor Kitila Mkumbo, emphasizes the need for the public-owned companies to be run as private corporate institutions to generate profits, reiterating that the government will not hesitate to axe any underperforming public institution. Is a report by Milika Andrew, read to you by Teddy Mparanyanga.
Professor Kitila has re-emphasized the government's stand in the parliament in Dodoma, responding to the questions raised by members of the parliament regarding the companies that are in the Auditor and Controller General's report for the year ending June 2023 due to debt and underperformance.
Kama mashirika mawili matatu yanafanya kazi ambazo zinakaribiana.
If there are government organizations that work in the same way, they can be combined together and be under the management of one institution in order to reduce the large number of organizations that are not profitable for the government.
Kwa ni wito wetu kama bunge kwamba serikali iendelee kutafuta namna ya kuongeza mitaji ya baadhi ya mashirika ili
the government should continue to increase capital for some organization. They should ensure that they increase the efficiency of the executives of the relevant organizations.
Here, the Minister of State in the President's Office, Planning and Investment, Professor Kitila Mkumbo, re-emphasizes the government's stand.
Mashirika haya serikali haitasita kuyafuta.
Organizations that do not make a profit, the government will not fail to abolish them. If they have been given the opportunity to do business and fail to do it properly, then it's better to engage the private sector. There are organizations that provide services. Due to their services, they can operate themselves. These are organizations that we do not expect to be paid dividends.
The minister explains what he thinks should be done to solve the problem, and some of the public entities to perform similar duties and some bring outdated.
Tayari taasisi kadhaa.
The government is taking steps to connect various organizations. When the time comes, we will present them here in Parliament.
Deputy Prime Minister Dr. Doto Biteko is expected to lead Tanzanians to bid final farewell to the former Chief of Defense Forces, General David Musuguri, tomorrow at Lugalo Hospital in Dar es Salaam. In a statement issued by the Tanzania People's Defense Forces, TPDF, it indicates that the final respects will begin at 9 a.m. Speaking to Tbcnews in Dar es Salaam, the family spokesperson Samuel Nyanduga says General Musuguri will remain in the memories and his legacy will be cherished generation after generation. General Musuguri died on October 29, 2024 and will be laid to rest with full military honors in Butiama Mara region on November 4, 2024. Other news, Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has directed all public institutions not to enforce any of its plans on the land or evict lawful owners or any citizens who are using the land for development activities before setting aside sufficient budget for compensation to prevent disputes. Here are more details.
Prime Minister Majaliwa was addressing the Parliament, responding to the question raised by the Member of Parliament for Kilwa South, Ali Kasinge, who wanted to know why the government does not allow people whose land have been assessed to reclaim the areas for economic activities while waiting for compensation.
Ni kweli yako maeneo yanatwaliwa kwa ajili ya ujenzi.
It is true that there are areas designated for the construction of infrastructure according to the goals of the institution that requires the area. This acquisition has laws that govern if the required area is inhabited by people who use it for agricultural purposes, and whether it is a public or private institution that needs it. They must pay compensation. This compensation will enable the person being compensated to vacate the area for the infrastructure construction.
On top of that, the Prime Minister has instructed the administrative secretaries of all regions and councillors to allocate funds for the implementation of various development projects as specified in the Local Government Finance Act, which provides the guidelines for managing the finances of local government authorities.
Uko mwongozo ni kweli unaozitaka halmashauri kutenga fedha.
There is a guideline that requires councils to allocate funds, which is set at 20% for the district councils. But the guideline requires municipal councils to allocate 40% based on the size of the revenue, and for the cities it is 60%. All these have been given the authority of the councils of ward representatives in those councils to plan the strategy for implementing and building environmental infrastructure in their areas.
The Prime Minister issued the directive while addressing the question issued by Halamga, who wanted to know the government's stand on councils that do not follow the Local Government Finance Act.
The Tanzania Meteorological Authority, TMA, urges people to continue to take necessary precautions that may arise due to the shorter period of rain expected to start from November. The TMA Acting Director General, Dr. Ladislaus Changa, issued the statement in Dar es Salaam when briefing journalists on the trend of the weather for the month of November 2024 to April 2025, and calling on the farmers, livestock keepers and authorities dealing with water and health to continue to seek information and guidance from weather experts.
Pamoja na utabiri huu tunatoa angalizo hili.
Along with this forecast, we provide this important warning that despite this prediction, which indicates that occurrence of short period of heavy rainfall are still expected to emerge even in areas anticipated to receive below average rainfall. Now the advice we are giving to various sectors based on the forecast we have provided emphasizes that the impacts and this advice have been issued by sector experts in collaboration with specialist professionals from the Tanzania Meteorological Authority.
On the other hand, Dr. Changa says the government continues to modernize the weather systems ready to deal with the emerging effects that may be caused by the intense cyclones, storms and typhoons like Hidaya.
Events such as cyclones and heavy rainfall will continue to increase as temperature rise. The government has continued to invest in and strengthen weather services.
The governor of the Bank of Tanzania, BOT, Emmanuel Tutuba, calls on more Tanzanians to invest in the financial sector as the government has put in place a system to oversee the sector at international standards. Governor Tutuba made the call during the third BOT Academy graduation ceremony in Mwanza, insisting that the country is financially stable.
Sekta yetu ya fedha nchini iko imara.
Our financial sector in Tanzania remains to be strong. We have enough capital, liquidity, and continue to make profits. And we have already created room for investors because it is a sustainable sector where we can manage to create international standards.
Bank of Tanzania Academy has been producing graduates with expertise in financial management to add value to the country's financial institutions, including banks.
Graduates who are going to be awarded a new level of education. Among the 40 students, 12 have already found employment. 14 have continued with higher studies, and most of them have already graduated from various colleges, while 14 are still looking for employment and self-employment.
This college not only has national level standards, but also an international one.
If you don't pay attention to what you are being directed to, you should know that the government is there to ensure that all that is done against it is taken into consideration for further actions.
In the third graduation of the Bank of Tanzania Academy, 78 graduates have graduated in the course related with banking operations and management. The Tanzania Investment Center, TIC, calls on local investors to register their investments with the center so as they benefit from the country's tax incentives, as more than 60% of the investments registered by the center are foreign. The call has been made during a meeting that brings together foreign investors organized by TIC and the Tanzania Revenue Authority, TRA, where it was revealed that there are many Tanzanians with business capital of more than $500,000 who have not yet registered with the center.
Investors have faith in the Tanzanian government. That's why they have come to listen so that they can express their opinions. The few who have debts will not freeze their accounts without order. Those who are paying tax on time will be identified. TRA will work with TIC to ensure that we increase the number of investors in the country, but we will make sure that we create a friendly environment for investors.
Jambo ambalo sasa hivi tunaliona TRA imeshaanza kulifanyia mchakato.
TRA has started to work on various processes, including the suspension of the insurance of agents' notes. We will make important recommendations to promote business in Tanzania.
The meeting has included discussions and dialogue, including questions and answers sessions on tax issues, with many investors showing satisfaction on the Tanzania's tax system. In case you missed any of our stories, remember you can always go to our YouTube channel at TBC Online. Watch us anytime, anywhere around the globe. Now let's take a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Do not miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. Time now for all the latest in international news. In international news, Professor Kithure Kindiki will be sworn in as Kenya's third deputy president tomorrow, becoming the third person to hold the office under the 2010 Kenyan Constitution. The announcement was made after President William Ruto gazetted the appointment of a committee to oversee the assumption of the deputy president's office. In the Gazette notice, President Ruto named Mercy Wanjau as chairperson of the 20-member committee. Shortly after, Mercy Wanjau gazetted the swearing-in ceremony of the former Interior Chief Secretary as the country's second-in-command, scheduled for Friday, November 1st. The event will be held at the Kenya International Convention Center from 10 a.m. in the presence of senior government officials. With 5 days to go until the November 5th vote, the race between Donald Trump of the Republican Party and Kamala Harris of the Democratic Party remains tight as ever. Both candidates and their running mates are campaigning in the western U.S. today. To understand how the situation is on the ground and how the public reacts to the present situation, TBC News speaks to Professor Peter Mhando, who is in the United States.
The U.S. presidential election as it is right now is a virtual dead heat. As we speak, about 40 million Americans have already casted their votes through mail-in ballots, and therefore the candidates, the two candidates, are trying as much as possible to avoid making mistakes in the last minute, because these last days, a little mistake would be really costly. And you would see that out of the 50 states, there's 7 states that are virtually going to determine who becomes the 47th president of the United States. And that's why you see these candidates transcrossing Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, and the like. Lately, some polls have indicated that Vice President Harris has a little lead, which is a statistical error could be. But she has an advantage. If the women turn up in big numbers, she stands a big chance to become the 47th president of the United States. Otherwise, we are in a dead heat, and it's going to take a few days after next Tuesday to determine who becomes president.
Professor Peter Mhando speaking with us from the United States. And here's more international news as compiled and read to you by Nyambona Masamba.
International news starts in Asia. Taiwan has been lashed by the largest super typhoon to hit the island near 30 years. Tens of thousands of troops have been deployed to help with rescue efforts. Typhoon Kongle is larger than the island itself, and it is bringing gusts up to 250 kilometers per hour. People across Taiwan have been told to stay at home. Financial markets, schools, and offices are closed, and flights have been cancelled. Taiwan's fire agents say at least one person has died, and 73 people have been injured in the typhoon. To Europe, cleanup efforts are continuing in Spain after it suffered its worst flooding in modern history. At least 140 people died after years with rains, fires in 8 hours on Tuesday and Wednesday, and many other injured. Cars have been stranded on bridges in the city of Ton and the outskirts of Valencia. Debris is strewn across neighborhoods, businesses, districts. Flash floods has also damaged roads and overturned cars in the town of Lutia and West Valencia. The government has declared 3 days of mourning for the victims. Spain Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez addressed the nation and said, "The home of Spain is crying with all of you. Our absolute priority is to help you. We are working in a coordination manner to make this possible." The government deployed helicopters, crews, and took hazardous rescues. While on the ground, specialist teams used whatever means possible to bring the young, the elderly, and the most vulnerable to safety. Transport workers across Argentina have staged a one-day strike to protest against government spending cuts and privatization plans. They have been backed by several other unions and social organizations. It is the biggest protest the country has seen since the libertarian government of President Javier Milei took office last December. The government is maintaining the hardline free market policy, saying it is the only way to tackle inflation of more than 220% and save Argentina's struggling economy. The strikers hoping this deafening silence, the empty trains and roads, would bring their message home, would boost their fight against the government that is determined to cut spending and sell offset enterprises. Hundreds of flights affected, thousands of passengers were cancelled. Buenos Aires Underground were also closed, so as the other transportations. And Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have hosted rival rallies in the state of Wisconsin just a week before voters of U.S. choose their next president. And Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have hosted rival rallies in the state of Wisconsin just a week before voters of U.S. choose their next president. Harris vowed she would win, while Trump focused on a new controversy that governed his base, and Kamala focused on democracy and unity.
That was international news. Sports news up next. In sports news, JKT basketball team secretary Isakwisa Mwakansompe believes that crushing out Dar es Salaam City basketball team in a semi-final clash in the Dar es Salaam Region Basketball League is a step forward to fulfill their dream of retaining the home title this season. Isakwisa tells Tbcnews in Dar es Salaam that the final match between his team and University of Dar es Salaam Outsiders will be a tough game, but they are determined to win the match.
Our match with Dar City always not easy, but we are preparing to show the highest level of competition. We sent our message to UDSM Outsiders. They have to prepare well to show us their maturity in basketball.
Dar es Salaam Region Basketball League final clash will take place on Saturday, witnessing JKT hosting UDSM Outsiders at the Don Bosco Oyster Bay grounds. In other sports news, Mashujaa FC head coach Mohamed Abdullah says they are eager to get 3 points in tomorrow's game against Simba Sports Club in the ongoing Tanzania Premier League to be played at Tanganyika Stadium in Kigoma. Coach Abdullah believes they are well prepared and ready to face tough teams like Simba Sports Club, hoping that his players will put into action what they have been doing in the training grounds.
We are well prepared in our game against Simba. We know their quality, but the soldier is not always defeated. We need 3 points from them.
Simba Sports Club sits in 3rd place with 19 points after playing 8 matches, while their rivals Mashujaa SC is at 6th place with 13 points. That's it for sports. And now before we wind up the news bulletin for tonight, let's have a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
And this is 24 hours weather forecast from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. For tomorrow, average wind speed expected over the most part of our country, while the highest maximum temperature expected to be 34 degrees Celsius over Kilimanjaro regions. And the rainfall signal are distributed over some part of our country. For tonight, we expect future particular conditions, thunder shower over Furia over the Lake Victoria Basin together with western part of our country. For tomorrow, we expect future particular conditions, thunder shower over Furia and sun period over the Lake Victoria Basin, western part, entire coast, including Morogoro region. The rest part of our country expect future particular conditions, light rain shower over Furia and sun periods. Let's have a look for the 4 days weather forecast for some part of our country, starting from the day after tomorrow. For Dar es Salaam, expect future light rain shower for the 5th of November. While Dodoma, expect future particular condition and long sun periods. Mbeya, expect future particular condition and long sun periods. Mwanza, expect future particular condition, thunder shower over Furia and sun periods. For Kilimanjaro, expect future light rain shower for the 5th of November. While Morogoro, expect future particular condition and long sun periods. Arusha, expect future light rain shower over Furia and sun period for the 5th of November. Dear viewer, we thank you for watching us and have a good night.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Faida Ngaga. Good night.